on this series called Sustainability and Conscious Creativity Starts Within. I've always been really fascinated about creativity, not only because I'm brought up in a very creative family, very artistic family with a lot of people making it quite well in design and architecture and all these kind of fields. It was always a big topic in my life. What I was really fascinated with, of course, the result is really interesting. As a designer, we love to see beautiful results. That's the purpose. But I've always been really fascinated with what happens when we create. What is it that takes place in a creative process? And I've always been almost more fascinated with that than actually designing things. So yeah, I'm a business owner, and I had my own brand for many years, and fighting a lot, using on purpose the word fighting, because I was fighting a lot for sustainability. I wanted to impact the fashion industry, which is a really, really tough and toxic industry. I wanted to be a part, and contribute in impacting this industry. Over the years, I also were very passionate in my spiritual inner journey. I lived in India for almost 10 years next to a spiritual master that maybe some on this call knows, maybe some don't. It doesn't matter. I lived near him in an ashram, near an ashram, and my inner journey was as interesting as my obsession with design and all that stuff. Later on in my life now, it's becoming more and more clear to me that these two worlds are kind of meeting, and this is like my true purpose in life, to let them intermingle and to really contribute to the world in a way of communicating about creativity and sustainability, how to be and become and stay conscious when we create. In the first session, let me just do a little recap on what we did there. We learned about that we have a body, physical body, and we are a soul. Then we have energy bodies. We talked mainly about the ego. We also have the mind and the intellect, all wrapped up in the field of consciousness. We were exploring the ego because the ego is a very interesting tool. It's very important that we are very familiar and knowing ourselves as much as we can. When we want to know when we want to be friends with someone, we get to know each other. So the more we can become friendly with our own ego and understand our reactions and why we do like we do, because actually a lot of our creations and a lot of our actions come from the subconscious mind, up to 95%. It's kind of scary. We actually behave and act on default setting most of the times. We think the same thoughts over and over again. We have the same feelings and emotions over and over again. So what it is we want to explore in this session is how can we become conscious creators and in that way contribute to a more sustainable world. We don't need to discuss whether the world is in desperate need to become more sustainable, more balanced. The thing is that many people, we don't get really that we are part of this whole thing. We can't treat nature. We can't be bad or good to nature. Where it went wrong somewhere down the line is because humanity forgot that we are nature. So that was some of the things that we went through in session one. We explored the subtle bodies by feeling some anger. We were thinking about anger, thinking about love or gratitude, being aware of how the energy moves when we think different thoughts, when we have different feelings. And then I asked you to maybe work with that during the week. Doesn't matter if you did, but maybe you did. The more, it's not something we can do overnight. This is an intense practice over many, many years, that we can become more and more conscious about what happens in our energy body when we feel different ways. So in this second session, I want to go into some of the principles, universal principles that governs this sustainability or creation. In the yogic philosophy, one particular book that I hold very dear, it's described how this Akasha, it's called, maybe some of you have heard about the Akashic records. Akasha means space. So there's this dark space. This is when the creation took place. There's dark space. And then these two energetic currents are descending. Prakriti is the first one. Then the second one is Purusha. They start intermingling. And this is how creation takes place. So all creations in life, in the world, in us, everything consists of these two energetic currents. In Taoism and Chinese medicine, they talk about yin and yang. This is the same. And I'm going to refer to yin and yang for the rest of the session, but just to make sure that we are aligned. I like to play with different wisdom practices, bring them into my daily life and work with them. I've done a lot of Qigong, which is this energetic movements where we learn to balance yin and yang. I've also done a lot of meditation for almost 30 years. But this mixing of different things has really worked well for me. And Qigong is a way where we can move in different ways and learn how to make the energy move around in the energy in the body. So yin and yang is these complementary energy forces. Many people call it the feminine and the masculine. And I just want to say that we don't want to talk about feminine and masculine here, because it's quite important that we understand that it's not gender specific. We all have yin and yang. So yin is not feminine, but a woman is predominant yin and a man is predominant yang. But that doesn't mean that we don't have the yin and yang in our energetic system. The trouble comes when we are not able to balance these two currents. If we look at the history of the world through the last 2000 years, we have as a collective overconsumed yang. And what happens in the body of a human being is that if we overconsume yang, we burn out. We get stressed. There were some new studies coming out in Denmark recently, a few weeks ago, that more than 55% of young girls, my daughter's age 15, suffer from severe stress. 55%. This is bad. So it's very needed that this yin is becoming more strong in all of us. Because it's not to blame yang. Yang is bad because we use too much yang. No, it's because we have forgotten to cultivate the yin. Because what the yin is doing is it's nourishing the yang. It's grounding the yang. Let me take an example again, like I did last time of a tree. The roots, it's the yin, where the branches is the yang. So when we direct energy, all creations has to be balanced between yin and yang. And then we have to become aware of how we direct this energy. Our job is not to, when we want to become sustainable and conscious creators, our job is not to decide what way an energy has to be directed. Our job is to open up and really be grounded and feel, how does the spirit want to communicate through us? How does this energetic force called soul consciousness, how does it want to express itself through me? My job is to be aware that I'm in balance, that I'm grounded, and also that I'm able to shine my light when I have to. That's the yang. I have to act also. So if we take an example of the heart, which is an organ, yin organ, but the actual, what it does, the heart, is it's pumping the blood around in the body. That's a yang manifestation. So it's complementary forces, not different forces. Complementary. One cannot exist without the other. And there's always a little bit of yin in yang, and there's always a little bit of yang in yin. There's Dr. Joe Dispenza, maybe you know him. He wrote a book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. He's talking about how we have to learn to create from the field and not from matter. So to create from field, that's a little bit of what I said before. We have to allow a greater intelligence to express itself through us. And the ego, back to what we learned in session 1, the job of the ego is to sort of be the vehicle or the tool. We don't want to really have too many goals. It's kind of very different from what I would have said 10 years ago, where I was so extremely goal orientated, always writing down all my goals. Now I have one goal: stay in balance, allow the greater intelligence to express through me what it wants to express. And then, of course, there's a lot of things about our intuition that we can open our intuition and become really intuitive of what it is that wants to come through, and we can work on that as well. But I have found that the more that I focus primarily on staying in balance, making sure yin and yang is in balance, making sure my energy is flowing in the energetic system as a sustainable inner ecosystem, the more I can do that, then synchronicity happens, like Jung was talking about. Somehow everything just manifests right in front of me. I don't really know how. It's quite remarkable. The more we can focus on balancing yin and yang in our energetic system. I think I would like to go, I like very much direct experience. I didn't like to go to school so much when I was a kid. There was too much talk, too much to the head. I like direct experience. As an entrepreneur also, I like to learn by doing. I'm always starting before I'm prepared, and that gave me a lot of trouble. But direct experience, I would like to invite you to have a little bit of experience now about what is yin and yang. We'll talk about more next session, next Sunday, about how we can use this and work with it. Right now, my goal is that the idea is that I want you to experience the difference between yin and yang, or not even difference, is wrong to say difference, the qualities of yin and yang. So if you could all close your eyes. No, 1 second, wait. First, I want to just show you that here in the palms, in Qigong, we're very aware of these points right here. We have some points in the palms. That's also where, when people are healing, we can use those points. When we finish the exercise, I want you all to close like this. The men actually have to take the right hand under and the left hand on top. Women, left hand first, right hand on top, and then we put it on the belly button. That's quite important when we work with these kind of energies. We don't want to deplete our energy, which we can easily when we work with energy. And Qigong is a very, very intense practice. We have to be quite aware and have good teachers to teach us. So we close in the end. When I say we close on that, it's called Denchen, under the belly button. First, now I invite you to close your eyes. And then take a few deep breaths. Then I can give a little bit of knowledge about that. The in-breath, the inhale is a yang manifestation. When we exhale, it's a yin manifestation. It's a little bit like the birth is a yang manifestation. The death is a yin manifestation. But everything in life consists of these complementary energies: in breath, out breath. And what we're going to discuss also later on is what happened, what is going on behind. Right now, we want to get familiar with these energies. So imagine that you are a big tree, a beautiful tree. You can decide yourself which one you want to be. Start by imagining your roots, your solid roots going deep down in the earth. So the energy of Mother Earth is connected to your roots. Try to allow all your energy to move down the legs and the feet and feel connected really to the earth and feel grounded and relaxed. And then let this sensation of being grounded move a little bit up in your legs. And play with the feeling of that in your exhale. You sort of can let go and expand a little bit, but also there's also some contraction. There's some movements. It's a little bit almost heavy. It keeps us down on earth. It's our body. Yin is the moon. Yin is night. Yin is when we go inside ourselves. And then feel how this energy can also conceive life. And then move up as a tree, you move up the energy. And if you feel like it, you can move it up in your arms, the energy now, and then pretend that you're hugging a tree, if you feel like it. This is one of the most powerful Qigong exercises when we stand up. It's called the tree. You feel like you're hugging a tree. Still, this is the yin, is allowing this very compassionate, loving, motherly energy, trusting this tree. And then move up again, the energy up in your top of your head. Some people call it the crown chakra. You can call it the top of the head. And imagine that you have now branches that are growing out and receiving the sunlight. And then the expression of the tree is to have these leaves that expresses itself. This is the nature of the tree. So the yang is this activity, sort of an action that happens. But it's very important that that action is taking place in perfect balance with the groundedness of yin. Otherwise it escapes. If yin is not nourishing yang, then yang escapes. Then we get stressed. Or the climber is overheated. So now when we are sitting here as trees, then we can just connect all the trees. We are together here in this Zoom call. We are a forest. Then feel how other trees are with us, different trees with different colors and different expressions. Feel the energy of where you stop and where the other tree begins, how they move together. Maybe your body starts moving also when you do these exercises. It's actually important to just allow the body to move in whatever way it wants to move. These are the kind of things that we can do when any creation we want to do, any thought that we have, when we wait a little bit and stop up and feel, is it grounded this? Is it also expressing itself in harmony? Then feel connected as a forest. And the tree is very clever. It knows that the branches should never grow over and further out than the roots. It never does that, a tree. It always maintains the size that is in perfect balance with the size of the roots. Yeah, you can just come out, open your eyes now again. If you want, and write a little bit or a few words if you need about what you felt. And again, there's really nothing right or wrong going on in these sessions. My purpose in life is not really anything else but to inspire people how to become conscious and work with energy. And these are things that take so long to practice. Many of us are already practicing meditation for a long time. I would like very much if someone, I can see we have time for that now. If someone would share maybe a few words, a few people, I would like very much to hear if anyone feels like it. Yes.
This is Pushpa.
Hi.
I love this. How are you? I love this exercise. I felt like, it was such an amazing example of being in harmony with everybody, like one individual tree in a forest, and you feel like you are the forest. You are together in your roots. It was a beautiful experience. I just want to share. Thank you. Gratitude.
That's nice. Nice to hear. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else would like to share?
Yeah, I would like to thank you. Thank you very much, Emilie. I'm Rama, and I'm a teacher. And your session today was exactly an answer to my prayers. So I'm a part of the Global Learning Fellowship from the National Education Association Foundation. So we are a group of 50 teachers who were selected through a competitive process. And in addition to working with each other and connecting with teachers across the world, one of our tasks is to create a unit of lessons that aligns with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And I'm working on the sustainable goal that talks about the well-being of all, and which includes the physical environment. And my unit is on climate change. And I have been struggling for the last 3 months on how to bring in this whole thing about how our younger generation is full of hopelessness due to climate change. And so in addition to the science, I wanted to bring in something which we could use in our classrooms, which is totally secular. And this exercise is just an answer to my prayers. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That's very nice. So it's always really nice when something is frustrating, which it surely is with the young people and climate changes, then we can empower ourselves by actually becoming aware that we are the change. We are the answer to how to make the world sustainable. It's by becoming sustainable within. Thank you for sharing. It was wonderful. Is there anyone else who wants to say a few words?
Yes.
Oh,
Sorry, go ahead.
Hello.
Thank you. Hi, Emily. I just want to thank you for this session. It's very good because yesterday I had a thought about how I wasn't able to open up myself, like, especially when I'm meditating. So you now speaking about let us open up so the spirit can express itself through us was a kind of an answer to that question that had been on my mind. I got part of the answer yesterday, but this is, very, very, very good. Thank you.
I'm very happy to hear that.
Thank
You
you.
see, there was a very clever man who once told me that to be shy is as much what did he call it? An ego manifestation as it is to be outgoing and always wanting to be domineering, or So when we are shy and not expressing our true purpose and not allowing spirit to talk through us, we are also not sort of living up to what we came for. So I think we all have to become much better and really allowing, and it requires some courage because it's a vulnerable situation to be in. If we really just open up and let go, and it might come through us in a way that's much bigger. It probably does, much bigger and more powerful than we ever thought that we could be. And that can be intimidating sometimes. And we can get a lot of reactions from people because when we start changing, every time we move energy in a different way, do things differently than before, the entire universe changes. The system starts changing. The family change, everything changes when we change. It can be quite, that's why so few people actually dare to do it, because it's overwhelming, this powerful force that can come through us. Wonderful, I'm happy to inspire.
Thank you
Anyone
very much.
else? Welcome. Anyone else? Marsha?
Yeah, hi, Emily. I just very briefly, as I was doing the exercise, the consciousness of my energy field expanded, and I'm not sure, it still is expanding a little bit, and I'm not sure now what will happen, but I just wanted to say, yes, I experienced this, and it's still happening. And I think something will, yeah, when you speak about moving the energy, I'm very curious about that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so see, actually, I forgot to ask everyone to close down under the belly button with the hands that I told you. But you can just maybe do it now. Put your hands under your belly button and breathe a few times. These points on top of each other, close. And then breathe a few times. We don't want to deplete energy. And when we start working with energy, we can't quite well easily deplete ourselves. And we want the energy to be circular in our system. We cannot work with that on Zoom. That's something we have to find a really good Chinese doctor to, or Qigong person if you want to learn in person in real life. So I think we're becoming very conscious and we're becoming very sustainable. And I'm very happy to hear. Is there anyone else who wants to share a little bit? I think we have a few more minutes before we will then meditate together. Kristen?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I stood up for the exercise.
Wonderful.
And I appreciated this sense of kind of rotating sunwise and then rotating moonwise, and that transition between the two. I experienced like the infinity symbol going back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, actually the yin and yang Taoistic symbol, it is also circular. It is, we want this energy to become circular, both in the ecosystem and collectively, but also, I mean, the body is an expression of the whole. So the more the body can become circular in the energy system, the more we contribute to a circular energetic ecosystem. So that's wonderful. You already felt that. Thank you for sharing. And then what you can do, now we're going to meditate, but what you can do during the next week, you can be curious on this, when am I grounded? When am I feeling the activity? Maybe go on Google and read a little bit about yin and yang so you can get more words on it to really understand what are these two currents in my energetic system. And the more we become familiar with ourselves, it's all about knowing ourselves. To be conscious creators, doesn't mean to create something specifically, because everything we live and experience, every single circumstance we are in, is a creation, a manifestation of the past, thoughts and feelings that we had in the past. There's nothing to feel guilty about, because we are all unconscious in many ways. So being a conscious creator is about becoming more and more aware, even of the, so to speak, bad things. Like last time we spoke about anger, and we want to become aware. What happens? I had a lot of issues with anger in my life myself. After becoming less mental about it, less trying to understand why I feel the anger, but more occupied with my energy system, I actually have become quite skilled in feeling in my body before I start saying my problem is I say stupid things that I regret when I become angry. So now I've become so skilled in feeling the energy, knowing exactly, now it starts moving in that way. So now it's time for you to either leave the room or be quiet. So, you know, it's really, and specifically being spiritual people, we want so much good feelings. We want so much all the good stuff, and which is also wonderful. But the problem is that we do have all these lower frequent energetic energies in our system. We still have them until, or otherwise we wouldn't be here. So we want to really learn to co-create in a way of knowing what's going on.